Welcome. Sorry we're late. I was having a headphone issue, but I've gotten my new headphones that you can see here. They're very nice. Thanks to my friend Leo for those. So hopefully we have less background noise on this show and all my shows going forward. But anyway, welcome. We actually have news, right, Ryan? News. I'm
Oh,
so excited.
we have tons of news, actually. I mean, we're 1 week away from free agency. The combine was last week. Franchise tags are going out. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, I would say this is the first week we've really had like news in a while. The last 3 weeks we've had like bits and pieces or scraps kind of to go from, but this week definitely we have like actual news.
Yeah. So, do you want to start with the combine?
Yeah, let's start with that.
How much of the combine did you watch? Because I got to catch some of it with like the fantasy relevant positions.
Did I watch live? Zero. I didn't watch it.
Did you see anything in the recaps? Did you watch?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it all in the recaps. I wrote about it, so I must have looked a little bit at the recap. I saw Brees Hall's run. Pretty sure I saw Kenneth Walker's run. I went back and watched Kyren Williams walk. So that kind of stuff.
That's been a hot topic over the weekend. Kyren Williams running, what was it, like a 4.7?
4.65, I think.
4.65.
Final official because of those damn timers, right? I mean, what do we think of those timers?
Those timers have been off all weekend. Chris Olave, I was watching live. I thought Chris Olave like basically broke the record almost.
Yeah, but it wasn't even close, right?
No, it was like a 4.23 unofficially. Then it was like a 4.39, I believe. Officially. Yeah. So like that's rough. I tweeted out I knew he was fast, but I didn't think he was that fast. Turns out I was right. But
yeah, you can never really trust the hand timer. And I don't even understand why we still have the hand timer. We have lasers, right? I mean, Spock says, hey guys, yeah, if you're watching, put some comments in the chat. Those really help us. This is kind of on what we're talking about, right? I mean, everyone complained about the pro day adjustments. Yeah, there was no combine last year. I think we're thankful that we had a combine. I mean, it was better that we had something over nothing at all. But still, come on, hand timing. I mean, why? I just don't get it. Why even bother?
Yeah, but there's some players that we have to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about the ones that we're going to go closer to the top of the rookie draft. We have to talk about Brees Hall. Like,
yes,
unbelievable, right?
I mean, yeah, like I always thought he was going to run fast, right? I mean, did you think he was? I mean, no one thought he was going to be slow, but I think this was a lot faster than people expected. I think people expected like high 4.4s, probably.
I agree. Yeah, so, I was looking around. Can you name the other running back running the 4.3s that weighed over 215 pounds in 2017?
2017?
Since 2017, yeah.
What year was it? Help me. Narrow it down.
I don't know if I can give that one away. He's Dynasty RB1. I'll just say it. It's just
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he's the only other guy to do that since 2017 at that weight with that speed. So
Dustin got it.
Yeah, he did. Nice. Good one, Dustin. But yeah, we knew he was going to run fast. People were talking about prospect fatigue because everyone's looking forward to 2023. I almost said 2013.
2013. Well, 2013 was a terrible class.
Yeah, that was the Geno Smith class, right?
Yeah, that was the Geno Smith class. DJ Manuel
in the first round.
Wasn't great.
No, not at all. We got Travis Kelce out of that class though,
and DeAndre Hopkins and Keenan Allen. So it wasn't the worst. Yeah, Le'Veon Bell didn't actually end up being that bad.
No, the first round though. Oof.
Yeah, woof.
It
just goes to show you never really know. And there are sometimes gems in a bad class. Oh, thanks, Adam. I try to be the homies, or wherever. It seems like wherever I go, I'm the homies though. So I don't mind. But I was just saying, like, it goes to show that there are gems in bad classes. I mean, you had Zeke and Michael Thomas out of 2016 as well. That was a pretty bad class. Other than that, That was the Sterling Shepard, Corey Coleman, Josh Doxson class.
Yeah, I remember that one fondly. But I think there's a debate for 101 that we have to talk about now. In Superflex anyway. One QB, it's Breece Hall already ran away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about that, and I wrote the running back winners and losers article, and actually, I don't know if you read it. Came out today. I wrote exactly that Breece Hall has canceled the debate for the 101, and just like you said, in a 1 QB. So we agree on that. And then in Superflex now, it's really a debate between Breece Hall and probably Malik Willis at this point with his rushing upside. Looks like he's going to be the first quarterback taken as well for the NFL. So it's kind of where we're looking at in Superflex, a debate between those two. So if the article just came out today,
I didn't get a chance to read it. I'm going to check it out later. But yeah, that's what it is. It's the debate between those two. I mean, Malik Willis didn't really test because he's saving it for the pro day, but he did the on-field throwing drills and he looked pretty impressive.
Yeah, I think that he had a good combine. His draft stock has been rising ever since, and I think he's going to be the first quarterback taken. If you look at the draft board, right? I mean, let's look at it for a second. I think that there are a few teams that could be. I don't want the NBA draft order. Come on, give me the NFL one.
We're not even in the playoffs for that yet.
Yeah, there's a link to my article. I'll post the link to the article in the comments as well after the video. But I mean, I would say, let's see. I mean, Jacksonville at 1, obviously not going to take a quarterback. Detroit at 2, they could take a quarterback. I mean, maybe. But I think more likely is Carolina at 6. I think, would take Malik Willis if he drops at this point. It doesn't look like they're going to get Deshaun Watson or not Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson, I don't think is being traded. So.
No. Who picks at 5 again? It's the Giants, correct?
The Giants, yeah. And I could see that a team trades up with. I don't think the Giants are going to.
That's what I was saying. I was trying to remember who picked 5s because that's probably the first realistic spot for a trade up if someone wants Malik Willis because they know they're going to have to jump Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Denver doing that. Atlanta's not really in a position to trade up for a quarterback. They can't afford that. But I can see Denver at 9 and the Commanders at 11 really being the teams that might be interested. Because that's not that far to move up. You're in the range of where it's reasonable. And those are the teams that can really, I would say, afford it. Atlanta's just not in a position to be giving up more draft picks to acquire a quarterback. That won't work. They need to tear the whole thing down. I would almost say Atlanta's a candidate to move. If a quarterback is still available at 8 that people want, I think Atlanta's a candidate to move in the other direction, move down, or just take a quarterback. But they can't afford to trade up. But yeah, Denver and the Commanders, especially the Commanders, because I don't see any way that the Commanders are going to get a quarterback that they like. I really just think Aaron Rodgers is staying put at this point. I don't, and if he's not, he's going to Denver or Green Bay. It's going to be one of those two. Deshaun Watson, it might be too late. It might be too late for that to play out. And then Russell Wilson, I also think, he's not going anywhere. So, unfortunately, the Commanders are kind of screwed, and they could make that trade for Malik Willis if they feel that going up to 5 would be good.
Yeah, they could jump up to 4 as well. I mean, the Jets have 2.
The Jets, the Jets could. I mean, that would be a big jump, and it would also be not a division trade. So you could see Houston at 3 also trading back or deciding to take a quarterback themselves. I mean, you never know. I still do think, though, that Malik Willis is kind of a maybe. We like him from a fantasy perspective, but he's not even as good of a prospect as Trey Lance to me. We're talking about a big maybe from an NFL perspective. I'm not a fan. From an NFL perspective, I'm not sure at all that Malik Willis is going to be a franchise saver. Right? I mean, who do you think is a better prospect, Malik Willis or Jalen Hurts? Prospect-wise. Probably Malik Willis, right?
Malik Willis, yeah.
But not by much. I don't think he's that much better.
I think he's, as a prospect, I think.
Jalen Hurts, didn't he win a high? I mean, he was Oklahoma. He had a great passing season his last season. He did pass the ball. Yeah. Malik Willis played at Liberty. I mean, we have just no idea how he's going to translate to the NFL at all. I'm just saying he's no guarantee. So, I don't think that I just don't think that a team's going to spend a top 5 pick on him. I really do think, honestly, at this point, the most likely outcome is that he just ends up going to Carolina at 6. No, there's no trades, and Carolina just makes him the pick at 6. That's kind of what I'm projecting at this time for Malik Willis. And if he does, then let's say I'll give you a hypothetical scenario then and ask you to choose. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Malik Willis goes at number 6 to Carolina. With the way their team is now, they still have everybody. They don't do any crazy things. I saw crazy things on Twitter about them trading Christian McCaffrey away. That is not going to happen. Let's say that none of that happens. They just take Malik Willis at 6. Or Superflex, 12-team Superflex, or Malik Willis at 6 to Carolina, or you can have Breece Hall, who goes at 29 to the Dolphins. Which one of those two would you prefer? Those are your choices.
Ooh. I mean, 12-team Superflex. I feel like at this point, regardless of the hypotheticals, I feel like it's a coin flip for me.
Coin flip. Yeah.
Cool. But if a Breece Hall gets round 1 capital, I think I have to go with the Breece Hall. I know it's, the positions. You're taking a massive swing on Malik Willis at 6. Breece Hall is it feels like a sure thing. I don't know. In a class of not many sure things, Breece Hall feels like a sure thing.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at it, though, it's tough. It's tough because quarterbacks are just worth so much.
I know.
So much.
It's difficult, and exactly if you don't pick whoever you don't pick at 101 is going 102.
Yeah, those are going to be the top 2. I would probably go with Malik Willis, but it would be very close.
See, I get that understanding. It's just hard for me to pass on a running back that tested that well with round 1 capital.
I mean, okay, so where would you rank Breece Hall in Dynasty? And I guess this is going to expose how I feel about quarterbacks in Superflex, because I would rank Breece Hall as running back 6 in Dynasty in that scenario and take Malik Willis anyway. So that probably goes to show you that I really want one of these fantasy gold quarterbacks really badly.
Oh, yeah. If Malik Willis hits, we were talking about this last week. He's in that Trey Lance, tier right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Malik Willis hits, he has the upside to be valued as Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson are now.
Yeah.
And, I would not have to rank him anywhere near there to take him over Breece Hall. I'd only have to rank him as probably a mid to late. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is ranked as a mid-second rounder. So, and Trey Lance, mid to late, mid-second rounder for me as well. So I'd only have to rank him as a late second rounder, early third rounder to still take him over Breece Hall in a Superflex. So that's not, that gives him almost 2 rounds of potential value to grow. And if he gets 6 overall draft capital, I'm less worried. That's better than Justin Fields had last year. And nobody was worried about him. Maybe they should have been, but nobody was. So, that will be a big decider for me.
I was seeing reports about that. I don't know if you're in on that, about his throwing motion, his extended throwing motion.
I saw that. People have been making excuses to hate on Justin Fields for so long. So I don't know how much I buy it. But again, people are acting. There are people who act as if Justin Fields is bad in 2022, that he's going to just be the quarterback forever. And that's not the case. I mean, unless you're the number 1 overall pick, and sometimes even in those cases, but if you're the number 1 overall pick, you usually get a 5-year leash. You really do. If you look at it, even Baker Mayfield, who has not been good, has gotten the full 5 years. Where we're coming up on year 5, and they've already picked up the option. They're going to give him that year, the full 5. And there's never any doubt that Kyler Murray or Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray is a whole other story, but Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence is going to get the full 5 years. Pretty much no matter what. Even Marcus Mariota he was 2. Winston got the full 5 years, the number 1 overall pick. He got the full 5 years, and then they moved on. Whereas Justin Fields, is, I would say, guaranteed to start 2022 and probably will start 2023. But that's all he's guaranteed at 11th overall at best. You're guaranteed 2 years and change at best. So he doesn't have the same job security as someone like Trevor Lawrence. He just doesn't. And people don't recognize that. People don't want to say that. People don't understand that. But I just there's always been something with him, like negativity around him, and I don't know why.
That offense was a train wreck though last year. So
yeah, but there was negativity on him before he ever entered the NFL. Before he had a team, there were always these things. There was always something, and I just don't really understand why. It's a bad sign because a lot of the times there's something, and then suddenly bad things happen. So it is what it is. Speaking of Hall versus Willis and a 10-team Superflex, Hall versus Willis, in 10-team Superflex, I would easily take Hall. Yeah. The quarterback scarcity is just not there. It's 10-team Superflex, so take Hall. West Coast Cheaper says, "How's your day?" My day is okay. Kind of tired, but it's fine.
Yeah, powering through on this Monday, Yeah,
it's another cup of coffee for me. I have a problem. But 12-team Superflex PPR, Dak and the 208 or 105, 109, and 23 first. Thanks. Why don't you start? Why don't you start with this one? What do you think about this one?
I think I'm low on Dak, but I think I have to take Dak on this one. The picks aren't premium. Dak's a first-round pick in Superflex startups.
Is he?
He is at this point.
Oh, he's not anymore.
And the ones that I've been doing, he has been. So that
shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. Not if they're ripping that offense apart. He shouldn't be.
That's a fair point. But I'm still.
If he's going to run like he didn't run last year, and they're ripping that offense apart, shouldn't be a first round starter pick for me.
I'm still taking Dak. It doesn't matter though.
I'll take. I'll still take Dak. But
yeah, if the picks were premium this year, then maybe I'd think about it, but they're not. So
they're not. Yeah, they're not. I'll take Dak. I get it though. I get wanting to move off of Dak. Honestly, right now Dak is for most people valued as a late first, early second round startup pick, and I do not think he's going to be valued that highly next year. So, Dak is a sell for me, and I just want to do a little better than this. It could be 103, 105, and 23 first. But someone I want to move on from. Maybe this isn't the way I do it, though. If I could sell Dak for Lawrence or Lance plus, I would do it in a heartbeat.
I agree.
Darren says, "Hey, guys, love the shows." Thanks, Darren. Who are you looking to grab in later rounds that could be a big hit in rookie drafts? Okay. You go first.
Oh, gosh. See, I have to look at my rookie draft because it was in the start of the third round in rookie mocks. I was getting some Christian Watson, and
that's not going to happen.
That's impossible.
That's not going to happen. He's going to go in the. I have him ranked 15th overall. He was already 24.3 in DLF's 1QB February ADP, so that was already the early third. So yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, a lot of the guys that I liked had a really, really good combine, so yeah. I won't be grabbing like Rachaad White. Had a really good.
Rachaad White was not a sleeper though. Rachaad White was.
He wasn't a sleeper, but I'm talking second round picks that I would grab.
Yeah. I think when he says later, I think he means later than that.
He means later than that.
Rachaad White has been like a high second round pick the whole time.
It's tough. I'm looking.
You want me to give you a couple?
I'd go for a couple because I'm looking at Desmond Ridder, but he's gonna get.
Well, Desmond Ridder is a good point. In a Superflex, Desmond Ridder, I think, is now someone who's going to get on the radar. Someone who I dismissed before the NFL Combine. I was not interested. And then, now I'm more interested. So that's actually a good point. But I would say Pierre Strong.
Yeah.
The South Dakota State running back. He ran, I think it was, he tied for the fastest time in the 40. So that's going to put him on the map. He's an older prospect, which I don't like, but at running back, you only need that one big hit, and then you can sell. So he's someone I'm kind of looking at. Alec Pierce, the wide receiver, the Cincinnati receiver, also had a good combine.
He had a great combine.
So he's someone who's definitely going to be on the radar. I don't know how high he's going to rise. And then I've been hearing a lot about this, and I'll be honest with the people, I don't know a lot about almost anything about this guy. I just heard about him the last couple of days. I put him in my rankings because there's a lot of hype about him coming from, both Dynasty analysts, the Twitter community, and then also real life. Greg
I have some breaking news. I have some
Greg
breaking
Dolcich,
news.
by the way. Give me the breaking news first. We'll go back to Mr. Greg.
Breaking: Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley has been suspended for at least 1 year for betting on games.
Oh.
Just came out 46 seconds ago.
Any sympathy I had for Calvin Ridley. Well, I take back everything I said about him. Then I take back everything I've ever said about Calvin Ridley. Fuck him. It's my show. I can say that on here. But fuck him. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. You can't. I mean, that's a crime, actually, right? If I'm correct, that's a crime to be in something. And we don't know if he bet on games. If he bet on games he played in, that's a crime. Just so you know. Pretty sure that is illegal. Right? I mean, you can't do that. You can't bet on something when you're participating in the outcome. That's a crime.
I mean, that's why Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame for baseball.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't prosecute him, but I mean, they kind of did. They tried to. It's a hard thing to prove. This is
Jordan allegedly. Remember that one. Michael Jordan allegedly. We don't know, but
no, Michael Jordan was not allegedly suspended for betting on basketball. He was suspended allegedly for having outstanding gambling bets to suspicious characters that looked bad on the NBA. So I don't think there was any accusation that Jordan bet on basketball. I think that would have come out. I don't think that was the case.
I
mean, no, but this is
it's been a thing that's been floated around forever with Jordan.
No, I do. I do know, and we'll leave this up on the screen for now. Well, at this stage, I am no longer going to give Calvin Ridley any benefit of the doubt about his alleged mental health crisis. I don't buy it anymore. I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I have no sympathy left for Calvin Ridley, none at all. I think now what he did is, and you know what's going to happen because of this, people aren't going to take people who have actual mental health issues seriously because Calvin Ridley did this and, used it as a distraction to distract from whatever this is. So, yeah, this is unacceptable. There's no excuse. And Calvin Ridley's never going to play in the NFL again. I don't think so. I don't think Calvin Ridley's ever going to come back. Betting on the sport that you play in has anyone ever done that and then returned to play that sport? Pete Rose was not playing when that happened. No. He was a manager and he never managed again, if I remember that correctly. I don't think he ever came back. He was done. So I don't expect Calvin Ridley to ever be. This is like I guess this has derailed the whole show, but honestly, I think this is worth derailing the whole show. The NFL wants to expand. I have a master's degree in sports management. This is kind of my thing. They have wanted to expand their operations in sports betting and lobby to legalize sports betting for years. This is very bad. This is exactly what the legislators who are against sports betting always warn about. I think that they're wrong, that that's overstated. But this is a black eye for the NFL. Calvin Ridley will never play in the NFL again. Take anything you can get, anything at all, and sell him. Don't buy that he's going to come back. He never will. The NFL will make the most harsh example out of him possible. They will. Because they have everything to lose and nothing to gain from ever allowing him to play again. They have millions and millions, not millions, billions of dollars on the line with sports betting. He will never play again. You take anything. Take a third, take a fourth, I don't care. He won't play. Trust me. I'm willing to bet. I mean, that's kind of a little bit ironic, but I will put, I would bet money that he never plays in the NFL again. So, he's done. And we don't have to talk about him anymore. And I guess we can move on to other segments, but, just to close out this segment with a note about other things that aren't about Ridley specifically. This is why we have such an issue with taking mental health seriously in this country, around the world, in today's society, whatever you want to call it. Because people remember the examples where it was an excuse, where someone just made it up to distract from something else. That's couldn't be more of a minority of the case. It's a tiny percentage, 1-2% of people who make it up. Most people who talk about mental health issues are being serious. They really have them. They're real. People go to therapy for them. You take medicine for them. Whatever you want to do that helps you. And these things, these type of incidents are really bad. So, yeah, I have no sympathy for Calvin Ridley at all. He will now join the crew of players that I can't stand. And you'll never hear me say anything nice about him again. So that's it for Calvin Ridley in my book. My answer will be get rid of him immediately. He'll never play again to any further Calvin Ridley questions. Because I'm very upset, both at the fact that it feels like he took advantage of the current sympathy in our society, which I think is good for mental health issues, took advantage of that wrongly. And then he bet on the sport he's playing professionally. Both of those things are pretty much unforgivable to me. So he's dead to me, essentially. Do you have anything to add to that? Or
I was going to double back with the whole gambling thing. You remember Tony Romo's fantasy football convention a couple of years back?
I don't. Oh, I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember it in detail.
Yeah, it was a whole thing about gambling, and they canceled it. It was a fantasy football convention in Vegas, and they canceled it because they were against it.
And now, we've been working past that too. Yeah. We've been making progress, but this is a major step back. This is bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think he's done. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's done. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt at all. He's not. It's also he's not that good. If this were Patrick Mahomes, maybe he plays again. So wide receiver who'd be 28, who hadn't been good in 2021, didn't play 2022. He's done. The NFL will never let him play again. All right. What was I talking about? Greg Dolcich?
We were talking about the late round picks and rookie drafts.
Yeah, and I was starting to get into Greg Dolcich, the tight end from UCLA. I've been hearing constantly about him, and I would just put him on your radar. Put him on your radar. You see it last year. Brevin Jordan went in the 5th round, but Hunter Long and Trey McKinney went in the 3rd round. You just never know. So just keep Greg Dolcich, your UCLA tight end, in your mind. Adam says, and they're gonna be comments about the Ridley thing. We'll address that. But Adam says he's closer to Hurts than Lance, referring to Malik Willis. And would you agree with that? Because I would agree that he's closer to Hurts.
I agree with that. I'm glad we got that in because I can't give you any late round sleepers because I can't get on Sleeper to look at my mock drafts right now.
Oh no,
I think everyone's going for the Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, no. Right now, there's no there's no alternative to. I think he broke Sleeper, but
it looks like he did because I can't get on any of my leagues at this point. Yeah. So,
well, this is gonna be a firestorm on my Patreon for anyone who was there and didn't listen to me when I told them to get rid of Ridley off their teams immediately. Not that I predicted this. I didn't. But,
And we can't give good late round sleepers till we know draft capital and landing spot. I think a lot's going to determine on that.
Yeah, of course. But I just wanted to mention a couple. Pierre Strong, I think, was the big one actually. I want to mention the running back. I didn't think he was going to get drafted before the NFL combine, but his time ensures that he will be. So he's someone you're going to have to keep on your radar. Okay, Darren says he currently have 4 picks in the 3rd round. I mean, you'll have draft capital to help you, though, unless the draft is now, in which case I would suggest Pierre Strong as someone maybe to look at. But if the draft's later, you'll have draft capital to help you. And
take home run swings if your draft's now.
Running backs.
Yeah.
Running backs are the home run swings. All right. Adam says, it's hard for me to overlook that the Jets, Niners, Falcons, all these teams, Lions, Broncos, Panthers, passed on field, especially after how he looked last year. Yeah, I mean, I'm counting it against him. The fact that he was 11th and not 5th in the draft matters. It does matter. And for a quarterback, every pick matters, especially when you drop a little good bit like that. So, yeah, and definitely counting it against him. Ty Chandler, yes, a late round sleeper. He ran a very fast time. The North Carolina running back. He ran a good time, I believe. It was a very fast time.
Yeah.
And I think Ray GQ was talking about him. So someone to consider. Yeah, okay. Ty Chandler and Alec Pierce, we've already mentioned. Zamir White is definitely more on the radar, but he had a good combine. And Sky Moore and Christian Watson, I feel like, are higher. They're higher up. But yes, they improve their stock, especially Watson. This we covered. And if you have specific questions, I'll cover them. But my answer is going to be get rid of Ridley. Okay. Question. From Rapid Raven. Yeah, this is a good question. Off topic from the Ridley situation. But, there are other questions. Some of you don't have Ridley in your league. But, I mean, honestly, if you're listening to this show, the odds are you don't have Calvin Ridley in your Dynasty league. I told you stay away. I told you don't buy. I told you sell. Not for these reasons. Not a psychic. I didn't have any sources. I didn't know about any of this. But just the odds are that my audience probably doesn't happen to have Ridley. If the same thing happened about Cam Akers or J.K. Dobbins, I probably would get a lot more questions. Because you listen to me, you would have a lot of those players. 111 and 202 in a Superflex startup. Who would usually be there? Ooh, I don't want these picks at all.
I don't want these picks at all either.
I don't want these picks. There's 10 guys I want.
There's 10 guys I want, yeah.
Yeah. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Murray, Jackson Burrow, Taylor Swift, Jefferson, Pitts. Those are the 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're at 111 or 202, I want to go in a direction. I don't want to make these picks. If I make them, it's probably going to end up being, who would it be for you? Right now, 11 for me is DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
Najee Harris, maybe.
It'd be between the 3 running backs there.
Dak.
Yeah. Maybe Dak.
Our options. Yeah. But I don't want to make these picks. I either want to go up and get, one of those top receivers that I like, or Jonathan Taylor, or a top quarterback, or I want to go down and, get like Trey Lance later.
What I'd probably do is I'd probably try to look to move down from 111, keep 202, and pick Lance/Fields or whichever running back out of Najee, Javonte, and Swift fall. Honestly, that's what I'd do.
Yeah, I think you can get more for 111. So I would try to go back I'd trade 111 more so than 202. But I'd want to trade both. I'm fine having a startup where I don't make my first pick until the 3rd round. And if I could turn the 111 into the, the 212 and the 301 somehow, I would easily do that. Or if I could even get the 111 for the, I can trade for the 211 and the 411, I would do that. So those are some trades you could make. Yeah. Ridley, a big whoops to all the deals I saw flying. We picked a good time to go live, by the way.
Wild.
Big whoops to all the – well, nobody did. No. Big whoops to all the deals I saw flying around me in all leagues. Glad I stayed away. Yeah. I want this to be a lesson also to people. When you hear nothing, don't use your brain to try to create a narrative that doesn't exist. All I ever said is that this was the kind of thing where no news was bad. No news was bad. You wanted to hear something. We heard nothing from the Ridley camp, which was bad. So in the future, with these kind of things, if you hear nothing, it usually is a bad sign. So just keep that in mind. I think that is the only actionable takeaway from this situation, is silence is usually not good. You usually want to hear something. But other than that, there's no real actionable takeaways from this. This is unprecedented, right? We really haven't had this in our lifetime, right? There hasn't been something like this in our lifetime. So it's hard to proactively plan for it.
It's been a long time. Like we were talking about, it's been the 2 big ones are Pete Rose and allegedly Jordan, but
yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, Ed's thankful he didn't buy the dip. I'm glad you didn't. His ADP was 45th overall in February's DLF data. I had him 74th overall, so way lower. So if you were a patron of mine, there's no way you had any Calvin Ridley. Ridley, no, from K-Mac. Well, yeah, obviously I'm very angry about this for a lot of the reasons I've already talked about. And, trying to calm that down and give you guys the content, but I'm not happy about that. Ed says, well, thankfully my sources said to be fearful he would return in 2022. Tyler equals my sources. I have no sources. But I appreciate that I was able to help. Yeah, Adam says that he's done. I agree. I think there's about a 10% chance that Calvin Ridley plays one or more NFL snaps moving forward. 90% chance that he does not. Will the NFL release its investigation for the sake of transparency or legal obligation? I don't think it matters. My guess is yes.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what he was doing, to be quite honest.
I think this is the kind of thing where it's in their interest to release it to make him look as bad as possible. I don't see why they wouldn't. How does it hurt them to release it?
It doesn't. So
you only want to smear him more once you've already done this. You want to make him look bad because it is bad. You want to show that how bad it really is. If you have evidence, you should publish it. It's only going to make you look better. You're going to look like a victim, the NFL in this case. And, you're going to make the perpetrator look more guilty. So I expect them to release the information.
I want to know if he was betting on his games, honestly.
I mean, who knows what he was betting on? I mean, we'll have to see. But I think we do find out. I do. And yeah, the Jordan treatment, that's the alleged, in case people really, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but there's always a rumor that Jordan was given some sort of gambling suspension for his suspicious gambling activities by the NBA, and that's why he retired to play baseball. It's never been proven. And I don't buy it, personally. I'm not on the conspiracy theory of that.
But there is a conspiracy theory. That's it as far as gambling goes for sports. Like, this is unprecedented besides
Pete Rose, yeah. But Pete
Rose that was
he wasn't a player.
Ago.
Yeah. And also wasn't a player. Able to come back. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jordan wasn't actually suspended.
Allegedly.
This is something I suggest people, if you're interested in this topic, there are documentaries about that. I mean, it was, there was, I think, some discussion about it in The Last Dance, which I really enjoyed. If you haven't seen The Last Dance, I think it's still on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I would check that out. It's a really good series. So it'll give you some insight into this whole situation. Okay, totally separate topic. From Jacob. What type of asset would you want in addition to the 105 to move back from the 101? So we're going from the 101 to the 105. How much is that going to cost?
It's going to cost a lot in my eyes, at least.
Would you say a 23 first is enough? So if I added a 23 first to the 105, which side would you pick? Let's say it's random first. Could go one way. It could go any way. It's not just random first.
It's tough to move off of Hall or Willis at this point. We don't know who's going to be first. Like you said, it's going to be one of them two.
23 first is a lot, though.
I know it's a lot.
Those.
You want to stockpile those. Like I said last week, if you can't stockpile those, I'd start trying to get seconds. Honestly,
so would I. I do think this is right on the line, though. 104 and a 23 first. I think I do it. I think I just do it, and I take the 23 first, take my chances. 105, 106 and a 23 first, I think I'll say no, for sure. This is like right on the line. If you're in a deep rebuild, I'm okay with it. But it's very close. Like you would agree that this, would you agree with me that this is kind of the line? 104, you would take it. 106, it's not enough with the 23 first?
Yeah, right about.
Yeah, so try to squeeze a little more than that, but I don't think you can get it. People, you might be better off trying to squeeze a player with the 105 than more picks. Maybe you could get the 105 and, like, let's say it's a 1 QB. Could you get the 105 and Chris Godwin for the 101?
I think so.
Maybe try to squeeze that. If it's a super flex, maybe you can get the 105 and, like, Tua for the 101. The 105 and Tua. Or the 105 and Mac Jones. Maybe you can get that.
Yeah. People are down on Mac Jones.
They are. And those maybe try to squeeze that kind of deal. But yeah, I want something significant. It's not just going to come easy. This is an easy question. Kamara or the 102?
102.
102 easily. It was the 102 before Kamara's legal issues.
Yeah, it was 102 before that. I mean, if you could pair Willis and Hall in a dynasty team, like, good for you.
I love it. Oh, and a super flex, it's even easier. Yeah. Adam says Tyler's the plug. Okay, for the record, just for the record, didn't. If I knew something about this, I would have just said so. I would have just said so. I would have said if I had any insider information, I would have said so. I know people are going to probably talk a lot about how I begged people to avoid Ridley and I should take a victory lap or whatever. I don't care. I have enough followers. I have enough people viewing my content. I don't need to do a victory lap. People know that, I'm trying my best for you guys. I get it wrong sometimes too. But, there's no one who puts in more effort for you guys than me. And I did do some research about this. I looked everywhere on the internet to find any update about Calvin Ridley, and I never, ever could, which was why I was worried. But, I did find that one of my big successes is that I found stuff about Rob Gronkowski coming back before it happened. So that's one of the times where my research on the internet paid off. Jacob says, getting caught betting on games could definitely impact mental health. Okay, but we have a little problem here. Committing a crime could impact your mental health, but suddenly I don't have as much sympathy for him in that. Suddenly my sympathy for him is not what it was. I'm not sympathetic anymore.
Both statements can be true here.
Yeah, I'm sure it did impact his mental health, but I'm sorry that I'm not so sympathetic for a problem that he created by committing a crime. It is a crime to bet on games that you're involved in. That's a federal crime. So I'm going to take that seriously and not just excuse it. Adam says that he would take a 105 and a 23 first in Superflex, but not in 1QB. But I'm honestly not sure that matters because it's all picks. So it's hard to tell actually which would be better.
I think I might agree with them. I feel like it's hard to move off. But it's hard to move off a Hall in 1QB.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure it matters that much.
And Superflex will have options with Pickett and.
It is all picks though, and we still don't. We are not 100% sure about how that's all going to work out. So it's hard for me to say. Usually, it's easier to say a difference between Superflex and 1QB when there's a player involved, because then I know what position it's going to be. Okay, what players from Darren? What players are you targeting exchange for the 109 and 110? So I assume this is individually, not together. So if we're talking individually, if I have the 109, I think let's say I'm in a 1 QB for. Let's start with a 1 QB and then we'll go to Superflex. In a 1 QB, the kind of players I'm targeting are maybe Chase Claypool, Amon-Ra, Josh Jacobs. Those I would say those are a value in a 1 QB, those players. But those are some that I would target. And if I can't get a value like that, I just keep the pick.
Yeah. Looking around, I definitely agree. Maybe the Ravens receivers. I think about Bateman and Brown with the quality of this draft class, but
yeah.
I think I like Lamar as a passer more than you do. I don't know.
You do, yeah. I want better than that.
That's fair. I mean, you think we get Michael Pittman at this point?
No. You can try, but
you could try.
And would you look to move them now or close to the draft?
Closer to the draft.
Closer to the draft. So I'm saying, did he bet on games because he wasn't playing? Well, I get it. But that's still bad. That's still really bad. That, it's tough. If you're under contract to the NFL, you cannot bet on the NFL. It's illegal. I get it, but it's hard to have. Look, there's going to be zero sympathy for him from the NFL perspective for the reasons I talked about with the sports betting and the money. Zero sympathy because they cannot have any appearance of impropriety. So, there's going to be zero sympathy from him from the NFL. For me, it's tough. I don't like how this looks. And I don't like, how the situation. I mean, yeah, and a report says about this is what I expected though. That the bets were from no contact with the team, but that's still bad. That's still bad. And I get it, but he's never playing in the NFL again. And I'm still mad that he chose to do this. At the end of the day, like, you're still responsible for the choices that you make. We want to help people, but, you can't just dismiss something like this. Usually gets you banned from the sport for life. So I just don't think any. And yeah, no, this is very true. Gambling addictions are real. Imagine making millions and still have to gamble. That's true. I actually just recently watched a documentary on gambling addictions. Actually, it was I think it was an Explained series on Netflix. So I actually just did watch that like a week ago. But unfortunately, yes, they're real, but the consequences are also real, and there are going to be consequences for this action that he did. None of the mental health or his other issues are going to excuse any consequences for betting on the sport that you're a professional of. That will come with consequences, no matter what the reason was, unfortunately. And, it's difficult for me to have sympathy because that's a crime. So that's going to be a problem. Darren, it's talking. It was a super flex. So if the 109 and 110 were a super flex, then I would probably look even higher. There's a lot of hate on Derek Carr and Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I remember our 109 Zach Wilson shot.
I do.
I'd easily go for Zach Wilson in that scenario.
Yeah, where's Ridley Truth there? This is a dark day for Ridley Truth there. Yeah, we talked about this. Consequences and empathy can still exist. Yeah, no, they can. They can exist. But that doesn't mean the consequences are going to go away. If it was during the period of time where he wasn't playing, I might have a little bit more sympathy for him, but, empathy and sympathy aren't the same thing. This is what he did was really, really bad. And Adam asks, what if it was DFS? Well, that might change things a little in some ways. DFS is a little complicated.
Yeah,
I don't think it will. I don't think we're going to find out that it was. That's also against the terms of service of the site, and also very much against the NFL player contract.
Yeah,
they cannot.
Just the way the wording is. Like they said bets. Like when I talk about DFS, I say lineups. I've never once referenced it as a bet.
That's true. That's a good point.
It's and like also,
if you think about DFS is regulated as a game of skill by law. Imagine if people could play DFS in things that they control, are technically like part of the professional organization that controls the outcome of those things. Imagine if that were allowed. There's a very good reason why that is not allowed. That would be, I actually think it's a very interesting conversation about whether it was DFS. I don't think it was, though, is the wording. But it is interesting. And I don't know how that would change things, the perception. I think the perception would be a little better. My suspicion is not the case. Exactly what FF Lefty is saying. There's probably no legal distinction, but public perception would be a little bit different. I agree with that. I think the anger would be a little bit less. There's a different vitriol around sports betting than there is about DFS. Those are not the same thing to the public. So I actually agree. And it's very possible that he has a gambling addiction, but we don't know that for sure. But it could be. It's one explanation. And if he does, then, I hope he gets help for that. But also, like I said, there are consequences. There are consequences to having a gambling addiction that, it can ruin lives. So, and this is a high profile story if people are interested to look into that. Evander Kane's story about, his gambling addiction. And, just shows that it can happen to anybody. Doesn't matter how much money you can have. You can have a gambling addiction if you have a lot of money or none at all. So very possible either way. But we don't know that. But if he does, then I hope he gets help for that. But we can't go back and excuse what he did. So, we can help him out in the future. But he's going to have the ramifications of his actions for the rest of his NFL life at the very least. West Coast Schiefer asks, Fields and Amon-Ra or Winston and Metcalf in a super flex. Fields and Amon-Ra. Yeah. Okay.
Give me Fields and Amon-Ra.
Yeah, Fields and Amon-Ra, right? I mean, yeah, Fields and Metcalf are kind of similar in value, but I'd much rather have Amon-Ra over Winston in a super flex. So yeah. Fields and Amon-Ra. This is an interesting take. Gambling on games you have no impact in should be allowed. Not saying it currently is, and if you break the rules, you should be punished. Not for me. You can't have gambling on. You can't be a professional in a sport and gamble on that sport. If you want to have someone in football gambling on baseball, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have any problem with that. But if you're a professional in a sport, you can't gamble on that sport. Period. That won't work for me. That's unacceptable. That's such a dangerous game to play. You just can't have that. You can't be. It's the same. Like if you're a FanDuel employee, you can't play FanDuel. Like Scott Fish, for example, can't actually play in a lot of different fantasy formats because he's an operator of League Safe and Safe leagues. So he cannot actually play in a lot of different fantasy formats because of that. And yeah, no, Adam has the really good reason why, insider information. And that's the answer to this question. Insider information and the appearance of impropriety. And also, if you have a professional contract, you just can't bet on the thing that you have a professional contract. And even if you're not directly related to that, what counts? Like, you can't have that. So that won't work.
It's a very unclear line, It's
not worth the risk to the leagues as well. Yeah, the liability. Imagine the liability if the league could be sued for allowing it, right? I mean, how much liability would they be exposed to by customers who lost money based on the actions that they would be exposed to liability there? So that's never going to happen. But yeah, no, Jacob, you're wasting your time arguing this with me. You should just let it go. You're not going to change my mind. From Weaves, it feels great that last week I was told Ridley was worth more than 106. Not by me. Not by me. I did not tell you that. But I'm glad you didn't trade for Ridley.
Sometimes the best trades are the ones you don't make.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can think of so many times in Dynasty. Yeah, the NFL has partnerships with Caesars, DraftKings, and FanDuel. They do, and they want to protect those partnerships, so you can't have even the appearance of impropriety, like I said. All right, what else was on our original show sheet?
Yeah,
this is such a bomb that was dropped in the show. I just can't believe that. Is this? Let me just ask this, from a different perspective. Is this the biggest single piece of NFL news that's dropped in the entire offseason? I would say yes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it happened to just drop when we're live. Oh boy.
I do. Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad. That's very bad. That's not going to go over well. It doesn't matter if it was when he was away from the team. That's going to be bad.
That's even worse.
Well, it's bad. Yeah. I get a feeling just for the way that this is being released that this is going to be the maximal bad. It's going to, as bad as you can imagine, it's going to be that. And then we've said they had Ridley closer to 108 or 109, which was probably closer to about right. And yes, we are off the rails. It's true. But like I said, I think this is the biggest piece of news in the entire offseason. So, we might be off the rails, but it's the biggest piece of news. So I don't feel that bad about being off the rails. Anyway, what else was even on this show sheet?
Yeah, the other stuff was kind of minor, a little prepping for free agency, a little tag news. This was way bigger than whatever I had on the show.
Well, what was on there though? What was on there that we didn't talk about yet?
We didn't talk about the Browns tagging David Njoku.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
How about that?
Why is David Njoku worth 10 million? Why do that?
I wish I could give you a clear answer. It's so puzzling, especially with Hooper on that big deal that they can't get out of this year.
Well, they can. I mean, they can designate him as a post-June 1 cut and spread out the cap hit over a few years, but what does that solve? That just kicks the can down the road, and you still have to pay the money anyway.
It's very confusing. I was really hoping Njoku would go somewhere else.
Me too.
I'm very disappointed right now.
Extremely disappointed. I'm with you. This is a puzzling, idiotic move. And, Adam says the answer. Yes, the Browns are an incompetent franchise at this time. They're committing to more years. We want more years of Baker Mayfield, more years of failure, a lot of failure already there. And then, we're going to have more $10 million of a tight end who's done nothing. Not nothing, but to earn a $10 million salary, what has he done? What has he done?
Calvin Ridley just made a comment. Someone posted it in the chat if you want to.
Oh, my God. Calvin Ridley made a comment in my chat.
That is officially from Calvin Ridley.
That doesn't make it better.
I'm just saying that's his response. I'm not saying it makes it better.
Okay, so he doesn't have a gambling problem. So that's something. But that doesn't make it better. And we were just talking about cutting Hooper. If you designate him as a post-June 1 cut, I believe the way that works is you get to spread the cap hit over the entire rest of the contract. So
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, look, designating him as a regular cut would only result in like a $2 million cap savings and an $11 million hit. So they're not going to do that. But if they designate him as a post-1 cut, which they can do at any time, by the way, you can designate a player as a post-1 cut at any time. I think you get 2 players where you can do that. And they would, so there's a void year in 2024. So it would be $3.75 million for each of the next 3 years. If they chose to do it. They still have to pay the money. And you cannot get out of the money. But it would be spread over 3 years instead of a regular cut would be all right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. They may take that option. They may not. I'm done predicting what the Browns will. Did we predict this franchise tag? Maybe we predicted it after they announced it yesterday. But did we predict this franchise tag a month ago? I didn't predict this franchise tag. I didn't even think it was a possibility. I didn't even consider it.
Nope.
Right? I mean, did anyone predict this? No. So if we didn't predict this, then I'm not going to say that I'm going to be able to predict what they're going to do with Austin Hooper either. Because they've already made one questionable decision with the tight ends. They could make another. So maybe they'll cut Hooper. Let's see what happens. Right? I mean, what do you want me to do? I didn't predict this. So we'll see how their incompetent front office handles the Austin Hooper situation.
We just have to wait and see.
Wait and see, yeah. But either way, even if they cut Austin Hooper, is David Njoku on this team is not relevant.
I had high hopes.
Probably more interested in Austin Hooper if they cut him and he went somewhere else than I would be in David Njoku on this team. I don't want any player on this team. This team is a disaster. I don't want pieces of this team.
Nah, it's unfortunate. They were so good 2 years ago too.
I'm just disappointed. I think I'm just disappointed, and I think that covers it, right?
Yeah, it does cover it.
But I am very disappointed in the franchise tag on David Njoku.
And then we had some news on Rodgers. I mean,
it
says he's pondering more than 2 teams. I think you're correct that he's only thinking about Denver. He's not
pondering 2 teams. He's pondering Denver.
It was pondering Denver and Green Bay, so those are the 2 teams.
Yeah. But he's not really interested in other options.
In the Steelers and Titans.
So they say. I don't buy it.
I think he should stay in Green Bay, honestly.
I think he is going to stay in Green Bay at this point. I think the longer it went, the more likely it was going to be. I think he could have forced a trade a long time ago. I think it would have been to his advantage if he wanted a trade to get it done earlier. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to stay in Green Bay. I actually think that I think they've offered a huge contract extension. I think he just takes it, and I think he finishes his career in Green Bay, and then Jordan Love goes bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, the AFC is a lot harder than the NFC right now, honestly.
I know. Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see the trade happening anymore. But you never know. With Rodgers, you never know until it actually happens, right? Exactly. And the franchise tag deadline is a day from now, 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So we will know. I think by then. They're going to tag Devontae Adams either way. But Maybe we won't know.
Maybe. But
yeah.
How about the Cowboys? We have to bring that up as well.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. I mean, the Cowboys look like they're going to use it's not official, but I suspect that they're going to use the franchise tag on Dalton Schultz, especially with Blake Jarwin's injury. Blake Jarwin is done. You can cut Blake Jarwin from your Dynasty roster. He's out for most of 2022 with what I was told is a rare hip injury. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any detail. There was no detail released on what that means, but it's bad. It's not good. So he's going to be out for most of the year. That means that they need Dalton Schultz. They're going to tag him, the tight end. Unlike David Njoku, this tight end franchise tag would actually make sense. And I think that it'll, give them flexibility to decide after this year whether he wants to do a long-term deal or not with them, or they want to part ways. But he's going to get the franchise tag. And then they're going to use the money that they're going to gain from cutting Amari Cooper. The deal with Gallup was close, but I haven't heard anything about it since then.
No, it was close, 2 days ago?
3 days ago.
3 days ago. And then nothing else came out. I don't know what his average value is going to be. I mean, Spot Track, right? Not Sport Track.
Spot Track, yeah.
Spot Track. I always confused it. I was had an R in there, but they were projecting his contract around 13, 14 mil. So
13 or 14? He's not going to. I don't know if he's going to get that after the injury. He's not even going to be ready to play week 1. So, but it looks like they're going to re-sign him. But we'll see. I mean, if it might not happen. It'll happen when it happens, right?
Exactly. I mean, this is all rumors. At this point, we're just dissecting some of the things that have come out. You said,
I do think they're going to re-sign Cedric Wilson though, so he might be someone to stash on the back end of your Dynasty roster in case they re-sign Gallup and Wilson, and Gallup can't play the first 6 weeks. Then you might want Cedric Wilson. So put him on the back of your Dynasty rosters. He's someone to consider as a stash.
Yeah,
and he's definitely moving up my rankings.
We have to talk about your team a little bit too.
Is that mandatory?
If you want to skip over their interest,
no, I don't want to say. No. That wasn't me saying I want to skip over it. That was me just being annoyed about the Giants. But no, go ahead. What do we want to talk about?
Yeah, they are interested in Mitchell Trubisky potentially joining their roster.
Well, I mean, this is the least surprising thing, right? I mean, Brian Daboll is over there. The Bills GM, the old GM is, or not the GM, but whatever, something in the Bills front office is now the GM. So, all right, we'll get to that in a second. And then doesn't Mitch Trubisky if you squint, doesn't Mitch Trubisky kind of remind you of Daniel Jones? A little. Not very accurate. They do a lot with their legs. They're not the same player. But you could squint. You wouldn't have to change your entire offense when going from Daniel Jones to Mitch Trubisky. It would not require changing the whole offense. They could run the same offense. So, yeah. It makes sense. I do think that Mitch Trubisky is going to get a chance to start, though. And I think it's not, obviously with the Giants, he'll be a backup to begin. He won't be a competition. Jones will be the starter week 1 if he signs for the Giants. But they can pull the plug and go to Trubisky at any time. But, I think he's going to go somewhere where he has more of a shot start. Like Tampa, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, the Commanders, Washington. But if he strikes out on those options, then maybe he'll go to the Giants. We'll see. Mm-hmm. All right, let's here we go.
Oh boy.
Okay. The NFL determined that Calvin Ridley placed multi-leg parlay bets involving 3, 5, and 8 games and included the Falcons to win. Okay, there was no involvement from any team, players, coach, etc. Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't think they would find that. No direct involvement anyway, via the Adam Schefter. So, yeah, no, I didn't expect this to take out anyone else or be anything else. I mean, I didn't. Sounds like there was already a lengthy investigation. And yeah, that's. I mean, he essentially admitted on Twitter that he did it, right?
He
basically said, "Yeah, I did it." So, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Those parlays get me all the time. You know.
I don't know.
Obviously, you shouldn't be on your own sport. You should be looking up basketball picks for the night. You know.
Yeah, part of me. I don't know, man. I just I don't expect him to ever play again. I mean, it's just, how can you prove, how can you prove that, how can you prove that he didn't know anything?
You can't.
Also, this is funny.
I mean, if you look at the message above, it says around the time they played the Jags. So maybe.
Well, then in that case, then, yeah. No, it's just frustrating too, because like this whole narrative is now like just gonna be a mess. Like, I guess my initial reaction was like probably a little more angry than necessary, but how often do you get news on a live show, right? So I don't know. Still frustrating. I'm still frustrated. I mean, I don't think this is, again, I don't know, the level of,
It's going to be a very developing situation. We only got the early stages of it here on the show. There's going to be more, obviously. I mean, we got a lot, but
yeah, it's just frustrating for me because, like, as someone who really supports like mental health, and now this whole narrative is like all fucked up, and like I still don't like it. Like, I know what this is gonna do, and I know that this is gonna take away from the original stand that he had for mental health, and people are gonna talk about it in a negative way, and people aren't gonna believe the next person who, fair or unfair, and I hate that. And it's just really, I'm just very frustrated with him that he chose to do this, because it's just, the narrative is just bad. It's bad in every way, and it sucks. And yeah, he's never coming back. So just figure that out for Dynasty. Well, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of Ridley questions about trades, and it's always going to be traded more. Mm-hmm. What else did we have on the show sheet? There's another firestorm topic on there.
I mean, yeah, the Commanders and Panthers are still interested in Deshaun Watson.
Please explain. You want to talk about optics? Please explain to me how the Commanders are going to trade for Deshaun Watson. How are they going to do that? How are they, of all teams, cheerleader scandal and all, everything bad with Daniel Snyder, everything bad there, the same kind of topic, they're going to be able to trade for Deshaun Watson? No way. They're already having a bad PR hits. There's no way they can trade for Deshaun Watson. Maybe if all the charges disappeared, like actually not settled, were like just disappeared, maybe, then sure. But there's just no way that they're going to trade for Deshaun Watson. There's zero chance. I do not care what their beat writers say. I do not care. They have rose-colored glasses. No chance that the Commanders trade for Deshaun Watson. It's not possible. The Panthers are more likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially that 6th pick.
Yeah, well, they have something good to offer. But again, it doesn't look like the Deshaun Watson situation is going to be resolved as soon as we like.
I don't think we're going to get anything they want to have it done by draft day.
Well, they really need it to be done, but it's not done. Yeah, this was his most recent tweet, and I was like, I want to tell him that he will never play in the NFL again. So, I mean, I don't want to tell him that, but I mean, maybe I do. I don't even know what I don't want at this point.
It's
just one of those things where it just, it's one of those things where you don't have a right to play football. I don't think this should follow him for the rest of his life. It's not like I hate Calvin Ridley, the person. I don't hate him. It's going to be tough for me to have the same sympathy for him I had before. But I don't hate him. And, people get to make up from their mistakes all the time. But not everybody it's not a right to play in the NFL. And, this is generally something that's a one strike and you're out kind of thing. Not everyone gets to play in the NFL. It's just something that I think is not happening for him anymore. But, I really hope that whatever he's going through, and honestly, like I said this originally, is that maybe the NFL wasn't for him. And I think this is just more proving that the NFL isn't for him. If this is what he did, if he was so upset by football that this was the choice that he made, maybe he should step away from the NFL and, just do something else. Like, clearly he didn't make a good decision here. So, there's a lot more to life than playing football. And I always say that myself about creating fantasy content. Like, I'm not going to do this forever. Like, I'm going to enjoy the time I have doing it, making these videos for you guys, streaming, helping you guys with your fantasy teams. But there's going to be a time when it's over. I don't know when that's going to be, but there's going to be a time when it's over and when I walk away from creating and don't hear what I'm not saying. This is not anything. I'm not planning to walk away from the industry. But, I'm not going to be doing this in 20 years either. So there will come a time. And at that time, I want to look at my life and be happy walking away from fantasy football. So, there's no shame in walking away from a job that doesn't make you happy, from doing something you don't like. And, just given his actions and how he's been feeling, how he says he was feeling at the time, how, he couldn't even watch football, saying how he was feeling. I'm not sure that this suspension is going to be a bad thing for him. I honestly think he might end up being happier as a person just not playing in the NFL. And that would be great. I think. I think that would be great if he comes out of this as a good person, even if, and it's not like I hate Pete Rose now because he bet on games, right? That was a long time ago. You have your angry reaction at first, and then people get over it. You get over it. You move on, as a person and with empathy and that kind of stuff. You can't be mad at someone forever. But, when it comes, there are certain things, like if you do insider trading, you don't get to trade stocks again. You don't get to do that. You lost that ability. If you do something where you lose your license to practice law, if you break the law, you don't get to be a lawyer again. But there's a lot more to life than those things. So I think that's just kind of my thing on that. And, if I was very angry earlier, I'm passionate. I don't like it when mental health is important to me, and I don't like it when I feel like, it's being cast in a way that I don't want it to be. So I just wanted to say that. And, I know this was, I want to honestly say this was a tough show. This has been a tough show to do. Because, there was a lot to talk about. But, definitely not, I'm not a reporter. I'm not used to dealing with breaking news live. So, something I'm going to get used to, especially if I want to grow in the industry. You guys saw one of my first shots at it. And I'm sure I'll do better next time. And I will. It's I know as I get more and more viewers, it's going to happen more and more. So, gotta use that. From Tanya has made his way into this show. Usually that's Ask the 11. We try very, very hard to get the 101 in draft hall. I'm stacked at wide receiver. Sure, right?
I'd say yeah.
Yeah. I would send. I don't know. You're so stacked though. Lamb, DK, Chase, Hill, McLaurin. McLaurin's your wide receiver 5. Malik Williams, your wide receiver 6. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd try to ship out McLaurin. Hopefully,
McLaurin, I would definitely like to move.
Yeah, maybe pair him with a pick and something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very worried about McLaurin. I'm worried they're going to acquire a big name wide receiver, but not a quarterback.
I mean,
it's like the worst case scenario.
I mean, remember, what was it, 2-3 years ago that they were so close to getting Amari Cooper?
Oh, yeah.
He could come right back.
Absolutely.
So
he could totally come right back. Yeah, there's no reason why he couldn't.
So it'll be interesting.
I actually think I predicted that in my Amari Cooper thread. Yeah. So what else was on the show sheet? What did we? Is there anything else?
Yeah, there's I think one or two more things.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The Chiefs are interested in Mike Williams, who hits the open market. So finally, we're gonna get the Chiefs number 2 wide receiver. It's gonna happen. This is the year.
Actually kind of like it. I kind of like it because I think what they need, and that's a little expensive. I was thinking DJ Chark was more likely, someone on the cheap. But what they really need is, I guess Mike Williams really gives them an element to their offense they wouldn't have, that like big receiver. They have Tyreek Hill. He's great. They're planning to extend him. That was kind of a news thing that kind of went a little under the radar. They have Kelsey. They could really use that big receiver. So I think, Mike Williams would be great on the Chiefs. Would you rather, if you had to choose, would you rather he goes to the Chiefs or stays on the Chargers? Choose between those two.
I want to put him on the Chiefs.
Really? Oh, I'd rather he stays on the Chargers. I had to choose between those two. The Chiefs would be my second choice, but I want to stay on the Chargers.
That's fair.
I'm not that confident in his talent, and we know he succeeded there, at least recently, somewhat. Had to go for a lot of qualifiers, at least recently, somewhat. So maybe I'm not that confident in Mike Williams. I don't know.
That's fair. We want to put everyone on the Chiefs, though.
Well, everyone wanted to put everyone on the Chargers more than we wanted to put everyone on the Chiefs. We can't have David Njoku go to the Chargers anymore.
Yeah, it's Mike Gesicki. That's what he'll probably get tagged too.
He's gonna get tagged.
I know it's gonna be disappointing. That's gonna be a fight. He sees himself as a wide receiver, and the tag for that's a lot more expensive than tight ends. So that'll be a battle in the offseason.
True.
But the last piece of news is 3 teams. Maybe one of them is the Chiefs. I don't know. They didn't specify the teams, but they're majorly interested in DJ Chark. So DJ Chark's going to get some interest this offseason.
Apparently, yeah. I still think he goes back to Jacksonville, though. That would be my prediction. But I could see a lot of teams signing him. Arizona was mentioned. I know Arizona was mentioned for Chark.
That'd be disaster.
That would be, he would. That wouldn't be so bad. Because Chark mostly plays on the outside. Retaining Kirk would be a disaster. That would be what we don't want to see. But
I just think anything would be a disaster for Rondale at this point.
Well, then prepare for a disaster because it's going to be something. It's going to be something. So prepare for the disaster then. Right? I mean, I'm sorry.
I know. I am.
Prepare for it. I did write him up as a buy recently because he plummeted in DLF's recent ADP. It was 115 overall in 1 QB. I mean, Superflex. 1 QB, 115. That's way too low. I'll get him there. I'm fine. Getting him there. But anyway, so this was a wild show. I think it was very much starting off. It was like a quiet show, right? I mean, I think this was. Here, how much do you think Chark will get in free agency? It'll be a 1-year deal for like $8 million. But yeah, this was a quiet show at the beginning. I felt like, even though we had a little more news this week, but then, yeah, it went kind of crazy. You got anything to? I usually close out the show myself, wrapping stuff up, but I feel like I've already done that enough times. So, you got anything cool to wrap up the show with that you want to say?
I don't got anything cool. You can just find my tweets down here. I tweet parlays too. Unlike Calvin Ridley, he doesn't tweet them. But
oh no. Yeah. Well, we will be back here next week at 3:00, and that's good because we're gonna have news during the show, almost for sure. Because we didn't plan it this week. But next week we will, because we'll be live that's the start of the legal tampering period. So we'll be live after there's been a few hours. It starts at noon Eastern. We'll be live for a bit during, so we'll be able to talk about that. So this should be interesting. Anyway, this was our most viewed show live ever. So thank you to everyone who watched us live. If you're catching the replay, thank you for checking out my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. And then if you're catching this on the podcast, just toss the podcast a follow or like wherever you are, and just give us a review on there. That's what helps the algorithm most on the podcast side. And otherwise, I will see you all next week.